Most people think asking for what they want is simple. You just open your mouth and say the words. But the truth is, asking is an art, and very few people know how to do it well. The ability to ask for what you want and get it is one of the most valuable skills you can develop in life. It influences your relationships, your career, your opportunities, and ultimately, your happiness. But most of us have been programmed from a young age to avoid asking, to fear rejection, to feel like asking for something makes us weak, needy, or selfish. And because of this conditioning, most people live their lives settling for less than they deserve. Not because the world is unfair, but because they never learned how to ask for more in the right way. Today, I want to share the art of asking, not just the mechanics of saying words, but the mindset, the strategy, the emotional intelligence that turns a simple request into something powerful, persuasive, and almost impossible to refuse. Once you master this, you stop leaving opportunities on the table and start opening doors that were once invisible to you. The first thing you need to understand about asking is this: every ask is a negotiation of value. When you ask someone for something, a favor, money, a job opportunity, even their time, you're creating an invisible equation in their mind. They're weighing what they gain or lose by saying yes versus what they gain or lose by saying no. If you want a yes, you have to tilt that equation in your favor. This doesn't mean manipulation. It means making your request worth saying yes to. If you ask without understanding their perspective, their fears, their needs, you're asking blind. And blind asks are why so many requests get rejected. The art of asking begins with empathy, the ability to step into the other person's world and see your ask from their side of the table. But before you even make the ask, you need to conquer the biggest barrier of all: fear. Fear of rejection is what stops most people from asking for what they want. You've probably been there. You wanted to ask for a raise, but you talked yourself out of it. You wanted to pitch your idea, but you stayed silent. You wanted to ask someone for help, but you thought you'd bother them. Fear convinces you that rejection will hurt too much, that no is unbearable, that asking is risky. But here's the truth: rejection is feedback, not a verdict. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Every rejection teaches you how to frame your ask better next time. The people who get what they want in life are not the ones who never hear no. They're the ones who aren't afraid to hear it. They understand that asking is a numbers game. If you ask enough times, refine your approach, and don't let fear shut your mouth, you'll win more than most people ever dream of. Now, when it's time to ask, clarity is your weapon. Most asks fail because they're vague, hesitant, or confusing. People can't give you what you want if you don't clearly communicate what that is. Saying, "I was wondering if maybe you could help me out," is weak. Saying, "Could you introduce me to 3 potential clients this week," is strong. Specific, confident asks cut through uncertainty and make decision-making easy for the other person. The more precise your ask, the higher your chances of getting a yes. But clarity alone isn't enough. You need timing. Asking at the wrong time is like planting seeds in concrete. Timing is about reading the emotional state of the person you're asking, the context of the moment, the stakes they're dealing with. If someone is stressed, overwhelmed, distracted, your ask won't land. But if you wait for the right moment, a time when they're open, calm, receptive, your chances multiply. Skilled askers don't just barge in demanding what they want. They watch, they listen, they feel the rhythm of the situation and strike when the moment is ripe. Another overlooked aspect of asking is framing. People don't just respond to what you ask, they respond to how you make them feel about saying yes. If saying yes feels risky, inconvenient, or one-sided, they'll resist. But if saying yes feels safe, rewarding, aligned with their own goals, they'll lean toward it naturally. This is why skilled negotiators frame their requests as win-win scenarios. They don't beg or demand. They build bridges between what they want and what the other person wants. They show how saying yes benefits both sides, how it creates shared value, how it makes the other person look good or feel good. When your ask feels like a gift instead of a burden, people can't help but say yes. One of the most powerful tools in the art of asking is reciprocity. Humans are wired to return favors. If you build a reputation for giving, helping, adding value to others without keeping score, when it's time to make your ask, people will almost feel obligated to help you. This is why the best networkers are givers first. They plant seeds of goodwill everywhere they go. knowing that every relationship bank account they deposit in will be there when they need to make a withdrawal. If you want people to say yes more often, ask yourself, have I given them a reason to want to say yes to me? Another key is confidence. When you ask timidly, people sense weakness and uncertainty. When you ask with calm, quiet confidence, you project that what you're asking for is reasonable, fair, and worth doing. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It's a belief in the value of your request and in your own worthiness to receive it. Too many people sabotage themselves by apologizing for their asks, by acting like they're imposing, by signaling that a no is expected. The art of asking requires you to own your value, to stand tall, to make your ask as if the answer should obviously be yes. Finally, you must be willing to follow up and persist. Most asks don't get answered because they're made once and forgotten. Life is noisy, people are busy, and your request can get lost. Following up respectfully shows you're serious. It keeps your ask on their radar, and it increases your odds of success. Persistence without becoming a pest is a hallmark of great askers. They understand that not now is not the same as never, and they're willing to play the long game. The art of asking is not magic. It's a skill, one that combines empathy, courage, clarity, timing, framing, reciprocity, confidence, and persistence. When you develop these skills, you stop treating asking as a desperate gamble and start treating it as a deliberate, powerful tool. You stop fearing rejection and start seeing it as part of the process. You stop settling for what life hands you and start shaping your own outcomes. Everything you want but don't have right now, money, opportunities, relationships, growth, likely sits on the other side of an ask you've been too afraid to make or too clumsy to make effectively. The difference between those who live extraordinary lives and those who don't often comes down to who dared to ask and how they did it. Master the art of asking, and you'll be shocked at how many doors swing open for you, quietly, easily, and almost inevitably.